Hello everybody. So me and Zilphia are unfortunately not able to attend the meeting today, so I am recording this video and you can watch it during class time or whenever you're free. My name is Siri and I'm going to be teaching today's lesson, which is Crosstiles. So let's go over the star question that Zilphia assigned last week. And I think this is it, if I'm correct. So let's go over it. So first we go from left to right. So 88 plus 56. I'm going to give you a moment to do it. So 88 plus 56. We do our addition over here. And that would be 144. Hopefully you can see that, 144, and I know it's kind of covered up. So everybody should be able to see what this is. Okay, so now we're going to keep moving on. So the next number, we're going to move it down here, and we're going to do this. So 144 minus 44 is 100. Now we're going to move this. 100 minus 25, we can do it off here to the side. That is 75. And then we're going to add 235. That's a big number there. So I'm going to erase this part because we already went over that. So I can have enough room to finish up. So 75 plus 235 is 310. So we would write 310 over here. Now, so we got that. Now we're going to move down the minus 68. And we're going to do, actually we can just do it here. We're going to do minus 68 over here. And you're going to subtract that. And you should get 242. Yep, 242. You're going to do minus 44. This is a really big number. Let's move down a bit. You're going to do minus 44 of that. That turns into a 12. This turns into a 3. Take one there. 198 is what you should get, if I'm correct, which hopefully I am. Yep, okay, 198. Now we're going to move, hopefully this isn't too messy. Let me try and erase this over here. Okay, so we're moving down the 35. Whoops. And you're going to do 198 plus 35. And that would be 233. Yep. And then the last one is our plus 44. And you should get 277. So that should be our answer for the star question. So everybody check your work. Okay. Now we're going to move on to our lesson. So our lesson today is Crosstiles. So we went over these strategies last week. How to go in order from these. So this should just be review. We don't really need to go over this right now, but we can go over a couple of questions if you would like. So let's do this one. I know you can see the answer already, but we're just going to pretend you can't see that. So I'm going to cross it out. and we're going to do this problem just as a quick review from last week. So we're going to do 235 plus 68. You can do it off to the side here. That's a 5, by the way. I know my handwriting is kind of messy. Let's do that again. So 235 plus 68. So that would be 303. Next, you're going to go in order. You're going to bring the 35, and then you're going to do 303 minus 35. That should be 2. Yeah, so 268 should be the answer, and I am correct. But you see, that's really hard to do. So instead, our strategy is to rearrange this equation to go to this equation. So you see, if we move the 35 over here, it makes 200, and that's so much easier because it's like a whole. It's a multiple of 100, so it's much easier to do that. So you can go straight to do that. Because with zeros, anything plus a 0, it's just the same number. So it would be a lot easier if you rearrange it. So that's basically the strategy that you should have learned last week with Zulfia. So let's look at this one. It would be really easy if you arrange this in a different way so it looks more like this. So this we can do easily in our head, right? 88 minus 44, that's 44, plus 56. We know that that equals 100, and then minus 25 is 75. So the strategy here is just rearranging, which is pretty easy, instead of doing it in the order that it's put, because with addition and subtraction, you can rearrange it and you'd still get the same answer. Okay, hopefully everybody's good. Whoops, okay. So now we're going to go over cross tiles. So cross tiles are another strategy. So let's look at these examples. These are we can skip over these for a little bit. These are just kind of explaining the steps that it takes to do cross tiles. So let's get to some real practice. So here's our cross tile practice. So to do cross tiles in a cross tile puzzles, you're going to fill the blank squares with the given entries to make true equations. So these are called our entries. So those entries are what's going to go inside the boxes. Okay? So this is kind of difficult to explain, but I think we can do it. So these 3 numbers, whatever goes in those blanks, equals to 8. And then 5, this blank, all should equal to 2. And same for this one. Those 3 should equal to 13, and these should equal to 14. So every way, there is a number. Got it? I hope that makes sense. So we're going to use these entries. So those are our entries, right? This is just an example problem. So in the left column, this one, we're going to go to the columns first. So this is the left column, the 5 at the top one. How do we get from 5 to 2? So we get from 5 to 2 by adding or subtracting numbers. And we have to put these numbers in the boxes, right? So to get from 5 to 2, we just subtract 3, right? So to get from 5 to 2, there's a blank there. We have to do 3. That's the only possible way. but there's 2 blanks there. So we need to think, what 2 blanks? We have a -1 and we have a -2. So -1 minus 2 equals a -3. And that's what we want, right? So -1 and -2 are supposed to go in the boxes. So we can put -2 here and a -1 there. So 5 minus 2 minus 1 should equal 2. Is that right? 3 minus 1 equals 2. So that first column is correct. That's good to go. So in the bottom row, let's go to the bottom row. So now we have already 1 blank filled out, right? So we have that already. So at the bottom row, we have this, a box equals 14. So now we need to figure out what this box is. So 10 plus some number equals 14. 10 plus what equals 14? 10 plus 4 equals 14. So plus 4 would go in this box. Does that make sense? So 11 minus 1 plus 4 equals 14. Let's check if that's right. Yep, that's right. So plus 4 would go in that box. Hopefully everybody's good so far. So we found 3 tiles so far. And we just need 1 more. I'm going to erase this a bit so we have some more space. So we're going to now, since 1 must go into the left column right there, we already did all of our 3. So the only other we already filled in those in our columns, in our boxes, right? So plus 3 is the only one left. So plus 3 has to go here. Now let's make sure, let's check everything. So this column, let's check that column first. Let's do it in red. We're gonna check this one. 5 minus 2 minus 1 equals 2. Let's see if that's right. 3 minus 1 equals 2. That's correct. So that's good to go. Now let's check our right-hand column. 6 plus 3 plus 4 equals 13. Sorry if there's some background noise. So this is 9. Whoops, where'd my pen go? Whoops, I don't know what's going on. Okay, so this is 9. And then we're going to bring down the 4 equals 13. 9 plus 4 is 13. So that column's right. Next, we're going to do the top row. 7 minus 2 plus 3 equals 8. Let's see. 5 plus 3 equals 8. That's right. So our top row is correct. Now let's do our last bottom row. We gotta always check just to make sure all of our boxes are correct. So that's an 11 minus 1 plus 4 equals 14. Now let's see if that's right. It is right. So now our box is filled and that should be your answer. Hopefully that all makes sense. I'll leave this up here if you need some time, or you could pause the video if you'd like. Okay, now let's move on. Okay, so let's look at this one now. I'm going to zoom in. So here's our first cross tile problem. So here are our entries. So these are what's going in the box. I'll write the definition here. Okay, so these should fill these boxes here. So let's see. How should we figure this out? So to get from 8, let's do this row first. We're going to do, I always like to start with the left column, but you can start basically wherever you want. So to get from 8 to 15, what do we need? To get from 8 to 15, we add 7. 8 plus 7 is 15, right? So which one of our entries here equals to 7 with only 2 numbers? If you said 2 and 3, you're absolutely correct. No, not 2 and 3, I'm sorry. 2 and 5, you're absolutely correct. So, because 2 plus 5 equals plus 7. So, the order you put here is very important. So we're just going to use a bit of logic here. So our next row, let's look at this one, is this row, the bottom row. So we want to put plus 2 here and plus 5 here, and I'm going to explain why. Because if we put plus 5 here, 9 plus 5 would be 13. 9 plus 5 would be 14, and that exceeds that number. So that couldn't be there. So this would be the right order. So you just have to kind of use some logic and make sure that everything adds up. It's kind of like Sudoku in that manner. Okay, so now I want to let's solve our top row. So our top row, we got our 7 plus 5, and then we have a box equals 15. So 7 plus 5 equals 12. So how do we get from 12 to 15? If you said add 3, you're correct. So 12 plus 3 equals 15. So plus 3 would go right here. Now our only box left is this one. And so we did plus 3, we did plus 2, we did plus 5, so plus 1 has to go in here. Now, let's check our work. We're always going to check our work, just in case. So I want to erase all these, just so it's a bit easier to check our work and we have more room. Okay, so I've erased everything for the most part, and now we're going to check. So let's check our left column first. 8 plus 5 plus 2 equals 15. That's 13 plus 2 equals 15, and that's absolutely correct, so we got that. Now we're going to do our right-hand column. 9 plus 3 plus 1 equals 13. That's 12 plus 1 equals 13. That's correct. Now let's do our top row. 7 plus 5 plus 3 equals 15. 12 plus 3 equals 15. That's correct. Let's do our bottom row. 9 plus 2 plus 1 equals 12. 11 plus 1 equals 12. So we got all of it correct. Yay! Okay. So now we're going to move on to this one. And I went over and erased that one already, so we have some room. So here are our oops, that's an eraser. Here are our entries for this one. So let's see, let's work on this column first. So to get from 21 to 10. Now, to get from 21 to 10, what do we have to subtract by? Because we're getting from a bigger number to a smaller number. If you said 11, you're correct. 21 minus 11 would equal 10. So now we need to break up 11 into 2 parts. So which one of our entries here equals 11? If you said -3 and -8, you're correct. So now we need to fit them over here. So here we're not quite sure where to put them because, well, actually, yeah. So we're just going to use some logic here. So which one is bigger, 15 or 10? 15's bigger. So usually we'd subtract like this. So this is where our entries would go. Because if we put -3 here, that would be 12. And to get from 12 to 5, there's no -7 over here. So that wouldn't be correct. So you just kind of have to do some quick mental math to determine where they are correctly going. Okay? Okay. I know that kind of seemed quick, so if you need me to explain it more, you can email me and I can see if I can help you. Or you can bring up the question in the next meeting where I will be there instead of just a video of me, and I'll, of course, go over it with you. Just remember to ask me. Okay, so now let's go over this column. So to get from 24, or actually, no, I think doing the row next would be easier since we already have one number. So let's do this row. So 15 minus 8 with a mystery box equals 5. So 15 minus 8 is 7. So to get from 7 to 5, what do you do? If you said -2, you're correct. So -2 wouldn't be in this box. So 7 minus 2 is 5. So -2 would go right here. Sorry, people are working on my roof, so that's probably why it's a bit loud. Okay, so I'm going to erase this one and we can work on the next row. So since we have the 3 numbers there, we've already done -2, we've done -2, we've done -8, we've done -3. So the only one left really is -4. So -4 would have to go here. Now let's check. First column, we're going to write it down, check. 21 minus 8, 13, minus 3, 10. That's right. Next column, 24 minus 2 minus 4 equals 18. Check. 22 minus 4 is what? 18. Check. Top row, 15 minus 8 minus 2 equals 5. Check. 7 minus 2 equals 5. Is that right? Yes, it is right. Bottom row, 10 minus 3 minus 4 equals 3. 7 minus 4 equals 3. Is that right? It is right. So that is our correct answer. Okay, so let's go to our next problem over here. Okay, so we're gonna solve all these cross-tile puzzles. Here are our entries. So let's do our, whoa, there's a lot of 10s over there. Okay, so let's do our first column, the left column. So to get from 10 to 6, what do we do? This one is probably a bit harder, so just be kind of warned. Yes, if you said -4, you're correct. So which one of these is -4? If you said +1 and -5, you're correct. Or even, yeah, that's it. So +1 and -5. So now we're just gonna use some common sense. So if we put +1 there, that would be 11, and to get from 11 to 4, you would need a -7. Do we see a -7 there? No. So +1 would not go in that space. +1 would go over there, and -5 would go right here. Hopefully that makes sense. Now let's do this row. So to get 10, we have 10 plus 1, mystery box, equals 16. So that equals 11, mystery box, equals 16. So to get from 11 to 16, what do we need? We need a plus 5. So we're going to put a plus 5 right here. And -1 is our only other open one, so we're going to put -1 right here. Whoops. Now let's check. So really, you only need to do 2 things. I like to do the left column and the top row, but you could choose any one, and that will give you 3 answers, and then the only one left would be your 4th answer. So that's just a little trick I like to do. Whoop, it magically erased. Just kidding, I cut the clip. Okay, so now we're going to check. Always check, because we don't know if they're right. Well, if you did it right, then you probably do get it correct, but we're always just going to check. So our first row is 6, that's correct. Second row, or second column, I'm sorry, those are columns. 10 plus 5 minus 1 equals 14. Let's see, is that correct? It is correct. So our top row, that's correct. And our bottom row, I'm gonna write it kind of small because I ran out of room. And that is correct. So this is our answer. Now let's go to our next problem. This one. So here are our entries. So let's do this column first. 18 equals 14. So this would be a minus problem because we're getting from a bigger number to a smaller number. So 18 minus what number would equal 14? If you said minus 4, you're correct. So 18 minus 4 equals 14. So we need to break this up into 2 numbers now. So which 2 of these equals minus 4? Plus 1 and -5 equal 4. So those are these should be somewhere in these 2 boxes. Now let's see where we're supposed to put them. Okay. So we have plus 1 and minus 5, right? So let's see. If we do minus 5 over here, that would be 4 and a plus 5. So we have a plus 5. So that should work, right? Right. Let's see. And a minus 5 would not work here because that would be 2, and you would need a 9 here, and we do not have a 9. So you're just going to use some problem solving. So minus 5 would go up here, and plus 1 would go right there. Yes. Because 8 plus 1, yes, that should be correct. And you're just going to check right there. Yep. Okay, so now let's do this row. 7 plus 1 plus box equals 11. So that's 8 plus what equals 11? 8 plus 3. So plus 3 should go in this box, and we have our 3 answers, so the only one left is plus 5. So plus 5 would be right here. Now let's check. So let's get our colors. First column, 18 plus 1 minus 5 equals 14. 19 minus 5 equals 14. That's correct. Second column, 3 plus 3 plus 5 equals 11. 6 plus 5 equals 11. That's correct. First row, 7 plus 1 plus 3 equals 11. 8 plus 3 equals 11. That's correct. Second row, 9 minus 5 plus 5 equals 9. 4 plus 5 equals 9. Another trick to do this is negative 5 plus 5 would be 0, so 9 equals 9. So that would be our answer. We're going to hop on over to our next problem. Here are our entries. Oops, did we already do this one? I remember doing this. No, okay, we didn't do. We just did something similar. I just remember all the 10s. Okay. So we're gonna work on this problem now. Let's do our first column. 10 equals 14. So we're gonna be adding now. 10 plus 4 equals 14. So which two of these equals 14, or equals plus 4? If you said negative 4 and plus 8, you're correct. So let me just undo this real quick. So negative 4 plus 8 would be our 2. So let's see, let's think. Where should they go? We can't have plus 8 here because that would be 18. And then to get from 18 to 8, you'd need a minus 10. And we don't have a minus 10. So plus 8 would have to go down here. And minus 4 would have to go right here. Now let's do this row. 10 minus 4, there's a box, equals 8. Let's see. That equals 6. So 6, how do we get from 6 to 8? We have to add 2. And there's our add 2. So add 2 goes right here. And then negative 4 is our only other option, so we're going to put that down here. Now it's time to check. Ten minus 4 plus 8 equals 14. Plus 8 equals 14. That's correct. Second row, second column equals 8. That's 12 minus 4 equals 8. That's correct. First row, 10 minus 4 plus 2 equals 8. 6 plus 2 equals 8. That's correct. Second row, 10 plus 8 minus 4 equals 14. 18 minus 4 equals 14. That's correct. So that would be our answer. Next problem, our entries. So the numbers are getting a bit bigger here. So to get from 22 to 21, what do we need? If you said minus 1, you're correct. So which two of these gets minus 1? If you said negative 2 and plus 1, you're correct. So let's see, let's think. If we put plus 1 here, that would be 25. Do we have a minus 3? We do, so plus 1 would go there. Minus 2 would go here, since that makes sense, right? Right. So now we're going to do this row. 20, hold on, let me get rid of this part here. Okay, so let's work on the row, the first row. There's a box equals 22. So this would be 25, box equals 22. So again, from 25 to 22, you're gonna have to subtract something. So So you subtract 3. 25 minus 3 equals 22. So negative 3 would go right there. And our only last one is minus 6. Time to check. We're just wheezing past this. Hopefully this is pretty easy for you guys. 21, 23 minus 2 equals 21. That's correct. Second column, 25 minus 3 minus 6 equals 16. It's 22 minus 6. That's 16. Check. Let's do this one. 24 plus 1. Whoops. That didn't look like a 1. Equals 22. It's 25 minus 3, 22. That's correct. And then our last row, 28 minus 2 minus 6 equals 20. 26 minus 6 equals 20. So that's right. Yay, we did that. So now it's going to get a bit harder. Let's do these cross-tile puzzles. Now I know you're like, oh my gosh, 3 boxes this time. Yes, 3 boxes this time. This is a bit tough, but we can do it. So let's look at our first problem. Here are entries. We have 6 entries this time because there's 6 boxes. So let's take this one step at a time. Let's do our first column. Get from 10 to 12. We're going to follow the same steps as we did with the 4 boxes. To get from 10 to 12, you have to add 2, and we're going to break this up into 2. So which one of our 6 entries there, which 2 equal plus 2? If you said minus 1 and plus 3, you're correct. So we don't really know where they're supposed to go yet, but let's see. Let's just check. Not check, but let's see. If we put plus 3 here, that would be 13, right? And you need something, you'd need a minus 9. Now, do we have a minus 9 or 2 things that can break up into a minus 9? No. So we can't put a plus 3 right there. The plus 3 would have to go up here, and minus 1 would have to go down here. Does that make sense? If you need to fact check and make sure that it makes sense, I'm just going kind of quickly because we're running out of time here. But take your time. So now we have that. Now let's see. Let's do this column. So to get from 10 with that box, you'd have to do minus 0. You're not supposed to change anything, so 10 minus 0 should equal 10. So what, or it could be a plus 0 or minus 0. Doesn't quite matter, but a 0. So which 2 numbers up there equal 0? If you said plus 2 and minus 2, you're correct. So minus 2. Now, we don't necessarily know where to put them now, do we? So let's go. So this would be 13, and this would be 9. So that's what we have so far. So to get from 13 to 16, we need a plus 3. Now, do you think a minus 2 is going to help out with us getting 3? No. So the plus 2 would have to go here, and the minus 1, the minus 2 would have to go there, because to get from 9 to 3, you'd have to minus, so that minus would help out. Okay, hopefully that makes sense. So now we have our last 2 numbers. Now you can either do the column way, but I think I want to do the rows. So we're going to do the row. Let's do the first row. So we have 13 and then plus 2, that's 15. So to get from 15 to 16, what do we need? We need a plus 1. So plus 1 would go there. And our left remaining one would be -3. Now let's check this real quick. I know 40 minutes is almost done, but we can go a little bit over, hopefully. So that's 10 plus 3 minus 1 equals 12. Is that right? That's right. This column, 10 plus 2 minus 2 equals 10. That's correct. Sorry for the messy handwriting. 10 plus 1 minus 3. That's correct. Now let's check our 2 rows real quick. I'm just going to go in the same color. 10 plus 3 plus 2 plus 1. Oh, lots of numbers there. 3 plus 2 plus 1, that would be 15 plus 1 equals 16, so that's correct. Our last row, that would be 9 minus 2 minus 3 equals 4. 7 minus 3 equals 4. That's correct. So that would be our answer. Hopefully this all makes sense. I know we didn't get a lot of time to do the 6 boxes one, but if you have any questions, you can email me. My email address, I'll write it over here, is siribora03@gmail.com. And you can email me there if you have any questions. Thank you guys. Bye.